Nottingham Forest are having a fantastic season and they've just picked up another brilliant result, this time drawing 1-1 with Liverpool at home. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at how they did it, including how they stopped the Premier League's most potent attack. Before we get stuck into the defensive side and start really going into what Nottingham Forest did so well from a defensive point of view, I want to take a look at their goal, because while they are such a good side defensively, they're also a really good attacking side. And this is a really good example of a goal that's not a counter-attack. I think most people think that that's the only thing that Nottingham Forest can do, and that's far from it. While predominantly they are a counter-attacking side, they can also open teams in general open play from a more or higher line, and I think this is a really good example. So you've got Canate who's about to head the ball. He's going to try and clear it over to this patch here, and Mo Salah is going to come and contest that, and it's all fine, it's all okay, until you see this 50-50 between Mo Salah and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi does a really good job here of just winning this battle with Mo Salah, and once he turns, it's really important, because if we take it back for a touch, when we see Mo Salah, another thing that you've got to notice is the position of Ryan Gravenberch. Because Canate has been aggressive and taken up this space, which essentially is where Gravenberch is meant to be, Gravenberch drops into a centre-back position just to cover. Now this is really clever on Gravenberch's part, but it also means that Liverpool aren't necessarily set defensively. Just keep that in mind as we forward this on. Because when Gravenberch tries to push up, notice Chris Wood here. Look at him, his movement and his gesturing. Look at this, he's wanting the ball, he knows that pass is there. And that pass arguably is actually on between Canate and Trent. That pass is probably on just there. It doesn't get played, but just notice the run from Chris Wood. It's really, really good. Top striker's run. But again, Liverpool aren't set here. And Nottingham Forest do a really good job of capitalising on this. The next thing to notice is the positioning of Anthony Elanga, because this pass gets played through. And this is the first really good proper forward-thinking pass that cuts through that Liverpool midfield. Again, you've got one here, you've got two here. Now Gravenberch has stepped up, and this is a problem because Canate hasn't dropped. Gravenberch moves forward, Canate doesn't drop, and that means there's a whole heap of space for Chris Wood to float into. Really, really good from him, taking that space and isolating. Another really good thing is Anthony Elanga moving in field. Again, taking that space in front of Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk can't go forwards because he doesn't want to take that line away, and then you've got problems because, of course, Canate is out of position, and it leaves Virgil van Dijk in the lurch somewhat. Anthony Elanga gets the ball and then is able to drive forwards. This again is really good from Nottingham Forest. Super good. In a couple of passes you've got them through behind that Liverpool midfield and in between those lines where we know there is so much danger. And now you've got to look at Chris Wood because he wants that pass. He's desperate for that pass. And Anthony Elanga is about to play it with his left foot. Again, really well done, really well weighted. Super, super good. Van Dijk can't come across because he's on the wrong side, and Trent isn't in the right position either. We know that Canate isn't available here either. Again, really well done. Now, what Chris Wood does really well here, it's difficult to show you, but I can tell you, what he does really well here is he doesn't touch the ball. And that might sound silly, but he doesn't touch it. He lets it roll across him. And in doing that, it keeps the momentum of the ball and doesn't mean that the Liverpool players have a chance to get back at him. And it means that he's able to then take that onto his left foot, and as he takes it onto his left foot, he's not wasting time, and in not wasting time he takes that opportunity a little bit better. He fires it across goal, across Alisson, really well done, with enough accuracy to take it away from the Liverpool goalkeeper. It's a fantastically worked goal, and I think it is a clear example of how well Nottingham Forest can carve through a side given the right amount of time and space. It's just brilliant. Nottingham Forest are something of a kryptonite to Liverpool. Not only are they the only side that have beaten Liverpool in the Premier League this season, but before this game, Nottingham Forest were the only side that Liverpool hadn't scored against. And even in this match, the only way that Liverpool scored was through a set piece. In 180 minutes and more of game time, Liverpool haven't scored a goal from open play against Nottingham Forest, and that is down to a number of different reasons. And the main reason in this match was the way that Nottingham Forest was able to prevent Liverpool's progression down their right-hand side, Nottingham Forest's left-hand side. And this is through a number of different factors. Number one being the aggression that is shown by Murillo, Williams and Anderson. This trio, this trifecta, offered a fortress-like defence against the potent capability of Mohamed Salah. To put it into context, Liverpool have scored 48 goals in the Premier League this season. 31 of those have been contributed in some way or form by Mohamed Salah. And when I tell you that Mohamed Salah lost the ball 24 times, the most out of any Premier League player or any player in the game, that really does tell you something. Murillo had 25 defensive actions, 18 of those being clearances, and that is through the aggression that he had on a number of players, including Mohamed Salah. Nico Williams wasn't dribbled past once, and that really does give you a proper indication as to how he was able to stop Mo Salah with the help of his fellow teammates. Shuffling across and really narrowing those lines down, Nottingham Forest made it extremely difficult for Liverpool to break them down through the centre, forcing them out wide, but it was the aggression that came into these wide areas from the likes of Arne and Nico Williams that really made Liverpool's life very, very difficult. And it didn't just stop with Mohamed Salah. Trent Alexander-Arnold suffered from this as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold only won one duel in the entire match, and he lost the ball 21 times. Now, if you combine Trent and Salah, that means they've lost the ball 45 times in this game. That is incredible. The amount of turnovers that Nottingham Forest were able to create through their tenacity, through their capabilities of defending, and through their aggression was absolutely sensational. And to compound the fact even further, Mohamed Salah didn't win a ground duel out of his 8 in total. He won 0. That is an incredible statistic and an indicator as to how Nottingham Forest were able to stop this incredibly potent Liverpool attack. The ability for them to work for each other, the work rate in its entirety, and the belief that they have in each other to be able to go forwards and then try to hurt Liverpool on the counter-attack is nothing short of sensational. While Chris Wood isn't the most mobile of players, the likes of Anderson and Gibbs-White make up for that tenfold through their ball carrying ability, carrying it yards after yard after yard past the Liverpool players, taking players out of the game. And this gives the defence a much needed respite on occasion, giving them the opportunity to relax and then reset to be able to go again for any kind of Liverpool attack. It was through this right hand channel that Nottingham Forest did a fantastic job, and it prevented a load of Liverpool's attacks, forcing them to go through different avenues where Nottingham Forest were far more comfortable with. And then, if crosses did come into the box, the likes of Milenkovic, who was fantastic in the air, winning all of his aerial duels, or Murillo with his 18 clearances, they were able to deal with everything with some form of comfortability. Nottingham Forest were absolutely sensational, and I cannot state that anymore. They were absolutely brilliant. Let me give you a couple of examples as to why Nottingham Forest are so fantastic at defending and what makes them such a difficult side to play against. Take this for example. This is Liverpool on the attack. McAllister has the ball currently, and if we just take a moment to look at this Nottingham Forest setup, a couple of things really start to become apparent. This is your right back. Note that. That's Arne. Here you have your left back in Nico Williams. Now, just notice how in-field Nico Williams is. He's almost in the centre of the penalty area. He's not spread, he's not wide, and the distance between these two fullbacks is actually incredible. It's incredibly narrow. Arne's inside the penalty area, and Williams is inside the penalty area. And this is down to one of the Nottingham Forest real main assets and one of their main outlooks. You can't enter the penalty area with the ball. If you're the opposition, you just can't do it. And you can see this ethos being demonstrated here. No matter what happens, the last thing that Nottingham Forest want you to do is enter the penalty area with the football. You've got 5 players in the centre of the pitch to have to go through. If you're McAllister, if you're Szoboszlai, to be able to go through the centre of this pitch. And they're going to be aggressive across this line. And they're not going to let you out. They're also not going to let you go down the sides, and they're going to force you into these channels. They're absolutely fine with you going wide, but you cannot go through the centre, and that is showcased through all of these players. You've got nearly, or in fact all of the players within the width of the penalty area, and that is key. That is absolutely key. The second thing you need to notice is Nico Williams onto Mohamed Salah. Remember what we said about Mohamed Salah in having quite a poor game, not getting any of his ground duels, not really getting into the match in itself. And that was down to the amount of times he lost possession. Look how aggressive Nico Williams is onto Mo Salah. Not necessarily like having a go at him, not touching him, but he's aggressive in his position. He's not giving him a second, and he's not allowing him to be able to do anything. Again, something that's really key. Now notice Diogo Jota here. Look at where Murillo is. Murillo is incredibly aggressive, and if you have an aggressive defender, it's an incredibly good asset. If you can hold your aggression and make sure that you harness it for good times and good periods, it can be an incredibly useful asset to have. Controlled aggression is absolutely fantastic. And look at this. Look, he's just holding on to Jota. It's not a foul. It's no issue. He's just holding on to him, which means that if Szoboszlai fires it into Jota, he can't spin. Murillo will not let him spin. And notice where they are as well. They're just on the line of the penalty area. Again, you can't enter the penalty area with the ball. It just can't happen. They're not going to let you do it. And look at the positioning of these Nottingham Forest players as well. You've got Arne here. You've got Nico Williams here. Mo Salah is trying to direct this. And look at how narrow they are. There's no way you're getting through that. It's not happening. It's so well done. It's so good. And it forces Dominik Szoboszlai to have a shot from the outside of the box. And it just so happens that it goes out for a corner. But again, that's what Nottingham Forest want. They want you to shoot from this area. In fact, in the first half, I think Nottingham Forest actually got into Liverpool's heads, because Liverpool had 9 shots and none of them were on target, and most of them were from outside of the box. Again, trying to make sure that Nottingham Forest don't get set like this. They want to catch them off guard, and they want to catch them off guard because of how dangerous they are in their defensive position. And it's incredibly difficult to try and break through, and Liverpool found this time after time again. Let's finally take a look at one more example, and this is actually a good example of how Nuno countered what Arne Slot did in the match. And what Slot did was he took off Konaté and brought on an extra attacker, and this was in the form of Diogo Jota originally, but it turned into Curtis Jones. You can see him right here. Him and Dominik Szoboszlai picking up different pockets of space to allow for that progression to go forwards, dropping Ryan Gravenberch back into a centre-back position, allowing them to rotate possession a little bit easier. Now, this is of course later down the line, close to the end of the game, and the way to counteract this, Nuno found, was to bring on another centre-back. He does this normally for Nottingham Forest, but it was a good way of counteracting as well what Arne Slot did. So we can see that there has been a formation change for Nottingham Forest. They've changed from their 4-2-3-1, and what they've gone now for is a 5-4-1, and we can see that really clearly right here. So you've got your back 5, you've got your 2 centre midfielders, you've got your 2 wingers, one here, and you've got your main striker. But again, notice how narrow they are. Notice how inside they are, how infield they are. Also, notice how high this line is. They're not allowing players to go over the top. They're not allowing players to go around. They're not dropping too deep, but they're still keeping those lines really compact. Look how compact those lines are. You're not getting anything through there, especially not through the centre of the pitch. If we do this and this, it's extremely difficult to get through the centre. It's just not happening, which means, again, it forces Liverpool out wide. It forces them into areas that Nottingham Forest want them to be. Although you're getting the ball to players like Cody Gakpo, of course, players like Mohamed Salah, the aggression that comes through from those wing-backs now is then helping out Nottingham Forest to keep Liverpool at bay and keep them away. And if that does come through, then you've still got these 3 aggressive, tall centre-backs to be able to deal with the presence of Diogo Jota later down the line. And as this continues, you can see that they're quite set, they're very happy, they drop into the box just a little bit, but they're still happy to be able to absorb that pressure. It forces Gakpo in field because of the pressure of that right-sided player, and it means that he goes and takes a shot, again, from outside of the box. It's forcing a shot again. It's making sure that they're trying to get that shot on outside of the box. Again, that's absolutely key because it gives more time for the goalkeeper to react. It forces out a really good save because of the quality of Gakpo. But again, really good defensive work from Nottingham Forest, and they were absolutely sensational. Again, like I said, stopping Liverpool in open play for 180 minutes total this season. They've been brilliant. But of course, guys, let me know what you think about Nottingham Forest and how they played against Liverpool in the comment section below. What did you make of their season? I think they're doing fantastic. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something new, and hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.